this is Nick from Lake Geneva Country Meats, and I'm here with Mike from Big Green Egg, and we're going to show you how to smoke a brisket on a Big Green Egg. So what we have is a 4-pound brisket flat piece that we've left the fat on. We haven't trimmed this out. We're going to season it and then smoke it. But first we had to get the egg set up. And Mike, could you tell us a little bit about how we got this egg set up?
Certainly, Nick. The unique thing about the Big Green Egg is that it retains its heat. So it retains all the moisture. The biggest thing about cooking a brisket is that we have to break down all the muscle and that in there. So by adding all the moisture into the meat is what's going to tenderize that over a long period of time. By cooking it in an egg, currently we have it set up. I put some apple chips in there. We have the convector, which is the plate setter in there, along with a pan of water. We have natural organic charcoal, which is 100% oak and hickory from Missouri. Kiln dried is what gives us our longevity and our heat. So.
Excellent, and then we have this set up to cook at 225. The egg's preheated, and it's a pretty simple prep for this. This is a trick Mike taught me. We're gonna first put some mustard on the brisket, and this is just gonna help the spice stick to the meat. It's not gonna add any flavor, so rub that all over. Get it on both sides. And then, once we get the mustard on, just going to take and rub our barbecue seasoning all over. We have the butt rubs you can use, or you can use your favorite one. Want to get a lot on this side that doesn't have the fat. Really rub that in. It's called a rub for a reason. Get it on the side too. You can see the mustard really does help it stick. That's a good tip. Flip it over and just get a little bit on the top too. And the top is the side that has the fat on it. It's important because we're going to want to put that facing up on the egg. So now that we have this seasoned, we can put it on the egg.
So we have our egg set up for 225. Like I said, indirect, and basically what we did is our temperature control is on the bottom and the top. So this is hundreds, this is tens. We're set at 225. This is what, about a 4 or 5 pound brisket?
Yep, about
Nick?
4 to 5 pounds. We want to cook an hour and 15 minutes per pound. So that's about 6 hours total time. So after about 3 hours, we're going to want to flip it over to get both sides cooked a little bit. So we'll be back in 3 hours to flip it over. We've been smoking our brisket for 3 hours and we're ready to flip it. So we're just going to flip it on the grill. Open up the grill. You can see the brisket's beautiful. And we're just flipping it to make sure we get even color on both sides. The Big Green Egg convects the heat, so we don't really need to flip it to cook it evenly, but it'll add nice color on both sides. A word now about our cooking times. I said you want to cook for an hour and 15 minutes per pound at 225 to get your brisket done. With our 4-pound brisket, an hour and 15 minutes would be a little bit longer than the 6 hours I said we wanted to cook for. This brisket's actually closer to 4.5 pounds, so that's a little more than 5.5 hours, and I just rounded it up to 6 hours. With the trick we're going to do after an hour of cooking on this side, which is putting the brisket in aluminum foil and adding a little red wine, it'll get it nice and tender and not overcooked with that little bit of extra cooking time. So, to sum everything up, you want to cook for an hour and 15 minutes per pound at 225. And for the last 2 hours, doesn't matter how long your entire cooking time is, the last 2 hours you want to tent the brisket in aluminum foil. To get the color evenly flipped, you just need to cook the fat side for about an hour. So for the first however many number of hours you're cooking for, do it on the lean side down. For 1 hour, cook it on the fat side down to evenly color, and that step is optional. And then for the last 2 hours, cook it in the tented aluminum foil. If you have any questions about that, leave a comment below and we'll be able to help you calculate it out. Okay, we've let the brisket cook for an hour with the fat side down to give it the even color, and now I've pulled it out, put this on aluminum foil, and we're going to tent it up and let it cook for the final 2 hours. To tent this, I've put it on 2 sheets of aluminum foil, just in the middle, and we want to have the fat side up because we're going to pour red wine on this, and we want the nice crust that's on the lean side to stay that way. So just going to fold this in like this. And then I have about half a cup of dry red wine, doesn't matter what it is, and I'm just going to pour this on top to cover everything. Depending on the size of your brisket, you might need a little less or a little more. I used a little less. We're going to close this up. Close up the second one on top. Get it nice and tight like that. And put this back on the bag. Now that we have our brisket package, we're going to put this back in the egg. Let it cook for the last 2 hours at 225 degrees. Tenting it up like that and putting the red wine in is going to make it nice and tender inside and make sure nothing dries out. 2 hours, we're going to be back. We're going to let it sit out and rest for a little while after it's done cooking. We want the internal temperature to be right around 200 degrees. Then we're going to slice it up and see what it looks like. With the brisket done, what you want to do is take slices like this against the grain of the meat. The grain runs like this, so we're just going to keep slicing like this. And I like to cut on a bias, which is just a fancy word to say we're cutting on an angle, because it makes slices that neatly stack like you see right here. See how nice that is? Smoking a brisket on a green egg is easy, and you get these nice slices to put on a sandwich. You can also shred the beef for barbecue if you like, but why waste a good brisket when you can make nice sandwich slices like we did here? Thank you so much to Mike from Big Green Egg for coming out and helping us out with this recipe. If you'd like to see the full recipe, click on the link below here to see the instructions on our website. And you can always find more recipes and instructions on how to use the Big Green Egg on their recipe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon at Lake Geneva Country Meats.